List of speakers for you all today. Thank you, welcome. I'm going to save my remarks for a little bit. Is sound okay for everyone? Everyone can hear in the back? Good? Great. So I'm just going to read off the list, and then if each person can kind of mention the person coming after them, so we don't need an official MC. So we'll start with Coach Tony DeRocha, then I'll go, then State Senator Liz Miranda, State Representative Russell Holmes, State Rep, is Chris Rowe here? Okay. City Councilor, okay. So then City Councilor Henry Santana, Jennifer Epstein of the Boston Legacy Football Club, Ricky Thompson, President of the Franklin Park Coalition, Gifted Keith, Vice President of Business Development and All-Time Services, Jesse Jeter, President and co-founder of EcoWaste, and then Camila Restrepo O'Brien, student and our closer here. Where's Coach? Where's Coach?
I just faced the list for
Okay, thanks. I'm going to add Henry here. Okay, list should be good to go. Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tony DeRocha. I'm a longtime BPS teacher, cross-country coach, and track and field coach. Also one of the founders of Boston United Track and Cross Country Club, and a Roxbury resident who lives just over a mile from this white stadium. I've also had the privilege of coaching at the collegiate level at Emmanuel College, and I've spent most of my life working with Boston's young people on the field, in the classroom, and in the community. I want to start by saying this: BPS student athletes have always had the talent. I've been proud to watch my students grow and succeed. What they too often lack is consistent support and reliable access to high-quality training facilities throughout their time as student athletes. Early in my career, I was asked several times to apply for the BPS athletic director's position. Turning it down was never about a lack of commitment. It was about honesty. At that time, the resources simply weren't there to fully support kids and coaches the way they deserved. You can't build strong, sustainable programs without stable funding, dependable access to facilities, and meaningful investments in the student-athlete experience. I've seen firsthand how much access matters. When Boston United Track and Club struggled to secure training space and eventually found a consistent place to practice, the change was immediate. Attendance increased, performance improved. Most importantly, students developed pride in being part of something structured, serious, and supported. I also want to thank Mayor Wu for stepping in to help make that stability possible. That's why today is so important. Today, alongside other community partners, the City and Boston Legacy FC are announcing the creation of a new BPS Athletics Fund, a commitment to sustain long-term support for student athletes across Boston. This fund will help provide uniforms and equipment, transportation and travel opportunities, training resources, and critical program supports that allow teams to grow and thrive. This investment gives coaches stability, it gives students pride in where they train and compete, and allows programs to plan for the future, not just the next season. This moment feels like a turning point for BPS athletics, not because our students suddenly became more talented, but because the commitment to them is finally catching up to the potential they have always carried. I want to thank Mayor Wu, Boston Legacy FC, and all of our partners for helping make this possible. And with that, it is my honor to introduce Mayor Wu, who will share more updates on the exciting progress of White Stadium. Progress I'm proud and excited to see come to life. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you so much, Coach, for the many, many times that you've shown up for our community and for the generations of leaders in Boston who you have mentored and opened the doors for. So we're very grateful for your partnership and for all that you've done for the city. And thank you to everyone for being with us here today, for making the time to come. I want to recognize a few folks who I didn't get to mention in the speaking program, because we are here to talk about one specific project, but it is really part of the larger vision and whole for the city as we're trying to put as much investment in our young people, in our community, and in Franklin Park. So thank you also to the chair of the Boston School Committee, Madam Chair Jerry Robinson. Thanks for what you do every day. We're also really grateful to be with our Franklin Park Executive Director. The first time in a long time we've had a crew and a team and leadership specifically dedicated to this park, Luis Perez de Maurici. Thanks for what you're doing. Our Deputy Superintendent of Boston Public Schools, Sam DePina. Many of our cabinet members who have been involved, so Chief of Operations, Dion Irish. Chief of Community Engagement, Brianna Malore. I think our Corporation Counsel, Mike Firestone. Public Facilities Director, Carlton Jones. And I missed many, many more people. Actually, our Chief of Streets, Nick Gove, way in the back as well. Thank you. He's doing double duty because we're doing a snow update in a little bit later today as well. And again, thank you to my colleagues in public service and in the community for being here. I also do just want to thank and recognize those who have been advocating and showing up for the park, even if it has felt like we are not yet on the same page. So to the Franklin Park Defenders and to all those who, Garrison Trotter and many, many who have, for years and decades, made sure that this park could be a home for everyone, even when the city wasn't putting any resources in. And even when the disinvestment was being felt in every way, you were here, you took care of this park, and we are here also for you to make sure that we are going to invest in the right way to make your work real. So today we're here to share some updates as we're getting into the next real phase of construction that's going to make everything real. We've done a lot of site work. All of the underground stuff has been done, the abatement, the infrastructure laying, making the preparing for a foundation and setting all of the groundwork underneath. And then you are going to start to see this stadium in its fullest version come to life starting this spring. To get to that point, it has been a complex process, and there's been obviously two pieces of construction because our partners at Boston Legacy Football Club are building one side of the grandstands and the building, and we at the City of Boston are building the other building that makes up the whole of the stadium. It was not a 50-50 split in terms of set a total budget and then split the cost down the middle, but a commitment to make sure that those spaces that were being used by students would be the city's investment, those spaces that would be used primarily by the team or to need to upgrade for the full professional resources and equipment would be covered by the team. And so we're here to share with you today that we've completed the public procurement and bidding processes for the city to finalize our budget for the city's portion of this project. And therefore, we want to share with you where those dollars are going, who they're getting invested into, and what the results will be. So we are here in Franklin Park, the City of Boston's largest public park and the crown jewel of Boston's Emerald Necklace, to share some news. As part of our landmark lease agreement with the Boston Legacy Football Club, our city's new professional women's soccer team, we are delivering the largest community benefits deal in Boston's history. More than $252 million in privately funded community benefits will be invested over the next 15 years into our community. And Boston will own and control the world-class stadium our students deserve. This benefits package includes the largest ever private investment in any city facility, tens of millions in contracts for local businesses owned by people of color and women and Boston residents, and sustained annual investments in our students, our neighborhoods, in Franklin Park, and for the maintenance and operations of this important facility. For more than 40 years, White Stadium has suffered from disinvestment, and everyone has felt it. In the season prior to the start of this renovation, the stadium and the facilities didn't have running water or heat, had no indoor training spaces, and had been regularly used by just 2 of Boston's schools. A once great stadium, home to Earth, Wind, and Fire concerts, marquee football games, community celebrations, graduations, and more had been deteriorating for decades, while our students and our community deserved so much better. But with a shared vision, formed after more than 100 community meetings and conversations, and a landmark agreement with our partners at Boston Legacy, White Stadium is coming back to life. The soccer team is investing more than $190 million for their portion to rebuild the stadium, backed by major financing from Bank of America. After receiving and reviewing all bids through a full public bidding process, the city's cost of construction will total $135 million, protected by a guaranteed maximum price contract. Our new hub for BPS athletics will have dedicated strength and conditioning spaces for our students, a sports medicine center, training, athletic training, flexible indoor study and community spaces, and rooms for our community to gather in this area. So here's what this means for our community and for our young people. By partnering with Boston Legacy, our students get a publicly owned and controlled world-class stadium at far less than half the cost. Our partners at the soccer team will have the right to play up to 20 home matches per year, and will also fund and invest in the maintenance and operation of the stadium year-round, a cost of $34 million over the next 15 years, and an important part of our agreement so that we don't end up 40 years from now in another place where a stadium was built and then there weren't investments to make sure that it could be maintained and continue at that level. Our residents will have access to premier spaces to get to use this facility every single day of the year. We'll have new bathrooms that are open to the public, access to water fountains, access to a lot of the amenities for events, including large-scale community festivals and all of those beloved traditions that we have seen in Franklin Park for many, many years. BPS and the community will get access to the stadium and the track every single day, after school, on weekends, in every season, and in the summer, even on days when there are professional matches at night. Boston will now be able to host state soccer tournaments, championship track meets, with a professional grade grass field and collegiate level 8-lane track, something that we have been behind our suburban counterparts for a very, very long time, and so our students always have to go away to compete. Instead, we are going to have the facility where everyone will get to come here. But the stadium itself is only where the benefits begin. Under the terms of our deal, Boston Legacy will contribute more than $9.3 million over the next 15 years for grants to support neighborhood needs and organizations, which will be supplemented with additional private fundraising. The team will contribute $3.75 million toward Franklin Park capital projects and enhancing the tree canopy, including $1 per ticket sold, negotiated by President Thompson and the amazing leaders of the Franklin Park Coalition, and guided by them as well. Boston Legacy will invest more than $15.4 million in rent and revenue sharing over the next 15 years to invest in Franklin Park, facilities, other neighborhood properties, and, as you heard already from Coach, create a new athletics fund to support students across BPS. This fund will help teams and coaches with new uniforms, special equipment, extra funds for travel and transportation, special training, and other essential resources for student athletes across Boston. I just want to note that one of the best parts of my job is getting to spend time with our young people, and we've heard a lot from them all throughout this process. The student athletes who have been training here, those who have graduated and remember how frustrating it was when their times couldn't count because the track wasn't up to state standards. And we've also heard about the many ways in which our students have been working and investing in themselves, have been dedicated and showing up day after day. And then when they can't get a bus to go to an away game and they have to take the T to go compete against another team, or they show up and they don't have trainers there, or they're using uniforms that have been handed down 4 years ago, time and time again, that is unacceptable. I want to be loud and clear here. Our Boston kids deserve nothing less than the best, and we are going to continue to fight for them to have every possible opportunity. This creates the chance for the facilities to match their talent and their potential, for the resources to be there to fund that year after year after year. And it goes far beyond our students. This project is also a major economic investment in the heart of our city. It will create more than 500 construction jobs, and to date, 44% of the contracts awarded so far have gone to businesses owned by people of color and women, or so-called MWBEs. We're not satisfied with that percentage, and we're going to keep boosting it up across the full duration of this project. There are still millions more in construction contracts to be awarded, as well as the operations and maintenance contracts once the stadium is up and running. But that 44% so far adds up to $43 million in contracts to our MWBE businesses, directing wealth right back to our community. And again, in a little bit, we'll hear from Gifted Keith and Jesse Jeter, who are two of the business owners who are helping to make this happen because they are contracted to work with the team and with the city. And thanks to the advocacy of the Black Men and Boys Commission and the leadership of Chief Shogun Itawu and so many in our community, we will be working to continue the Supplier Diversity Task Force's work, hosting more job fairs, creating opportunities for local businesses to know what is available and take on the tens of millions of dollars in additional contracts that have yet to be awarded. So thank you to all of our partners and everyone who has been involved on this project. Many of those who have been guiding this are BPS graduates themselves. Chief Dion Irish will not let go which high school team is the best, and he's here to represent all of them, but we know where his heart is as an alum. And so many around the table have reminisced about what their experiences were, how much youth sports changed their lives and shaped them into the leaders they are today, but how much they had to put in their own time and potential despite the hurdles of lacking facilities, despite the feeling that they would get going to away games competing against suburban teams. We are going to have the best student athletics facility in the country here in Boston, and that is going to be something that will transform our city for generations. Our BPS leaders, those who have shaped this project, many of you learned to swim in our Boston pools, play in our gyms and on our fields, run cross-country right here at Franklin Park, and your dedication to giving back is the reason we're here today. So thousands more students can make memories like yours and become the leaders that our city needs. As a BPS mom, I am incredibly grateful for everyone's belief in all of our young people. They deserve the best, and we are going to give them the best so they can be at their best. Together, informed by a year and a half of community meetings, public process that shaped every bit of this project, we're making good on a promise that has been stalled for 4 decades. We're making White Stadium fit the aspirations of our students. That is nothing less than they deserve. Okay, otra vez en español, because I want to make sure as many of our residents can get this news as possible. And then I'm going to pass it on to State Rep Holmes. Buenos días y gracias. Hoy estamos aquí en Franklin Park para compartir noticias muy positivas para nuestra comunidad. Como parte de nuestro acuerdo histórico de arrendamiento con Boston Legacy Football Club, el nuevo equipo profesional de fútbol femenino de nuestra ciudad, hemos alcanzado el paquete de beneficios comunitarios más grande en la historia de Boston y al mismo tiempo vamos a entregar un estadio de primer nivel para nuestros estudiantes. Durante los próximos 15 años, estaremos aportando más de $252 millones en beneficios comunitarios financiados de manera privada y al mismo tiempo haciendo realidad un estadio de primer nivel al servicio de nuestros estudiantes. Este acuerdo incluye la mayor inversión privada que ha recibido la ciudad en una infraestructura pública, grandes contratos para negocios locales y negocios de personas de color y mujeres, y fondos anuales para nuestros estudiantes, nuestros vecindarios y Franklin Park. Gracias a nuestros socios y aliados, Boston Legacy, reviviremos al Estadio Blanco. El equipo está invirtiendo más de 190 millones de dólares para reconstruir el estadio. Esta inversión está respaldada por financiamiento privado y compromisos de arrendamiento por décadas. Tras llevar a cabo un proceso completo de licitación pública y revisar todas las propuestas del mercado actual, la inversión de la ciudad en la construcción será de 135 millones de dólares, protegida por un contrato con un precio máximo garantizado. Esta inversión permitirá construir espacios dedicados al entrenamiento de fuerza y de acondicionamiento físico, un centro de medicina deportiva y áreas interiores flexibles para estudio y uso comunitario. Atletas de todas las escuelas y todos los deportes de las escuelas públicas de Boston podrán entrenar y competir en White Stadium. Por primera vez, Boston podrá ser sede de torneos de varios deportes y campeonatos de atletismo estatales, con un campo de césped natural de nivel profesional y una pista de 8 carriles de estándar universitario. Pero los beneficios van mucho más allá del estadio en sí. Boston Legacy asumirá todos los costos, más de $2 millones de dólares al año, para operar y mantener el área de Franklin Park que rodea a White Stadium. Además, pagará más de $15.4 millones de dólares en renta durante los próximos 15 años, recursos que se invitarán directamente en mejorar el parque. A través de nuestro acuerdo de beneficios comunitarios, Boston Legacy aportará más de $9.3 millones de dólares a los vecindarios alrededor de Franklin Park, apoyando a pequeños negocios, patrocinando eventos comunitarios y creando más programas para nuestros jóvenes. De ese total, $3.75 millones de dólares se destinarán a proyectos de infraestructura en Franklin Park y el fortalecimiento del dosel arbóreo del parque. Además, se estima $8 millones de dólares provenientes de los ingresos compartidos por concesiones y patrocinios permitirán crear un nuevo fondo de atletismo de las escuelas públicas de Boston. Este fondo financiará uniformes y equipamiento, gastos de transporte y viajes, entrenamientos especializados y otros recursos esenciales para estudiantes, atletas, entrenadores y equipos en toda la ciudad. Durante la construcción, el proyecto generará más de 500 trabajos y la ciudad junto con Boston Legacy han dado el 44% de todos los contratos de White Stadium, equivalentes a $43 millones de dólares a negocios de personas de color o mujeres. Guiados por más de 100 reuniones comunitarias con estudiantes, entrenadores y vecinos, estamos cumpliendo una promesa que llevaba 4 décadas postergada. Estamos haciendo que White Stadium esté a la altura de las aspiraciones de nuestros estudiantes. So thank you so much. We'll take some questions on topic at the end, but first I'm going to turn it over to State Representative Russell Holmes.
Thank you, Mayor. I sat in my State House office about 5 years or so ago when Linda Whitfield came and talked to me about the idea of potentially doing a stadium. And when Linda came to have that conversation, the idea was pretty small from my perspective. She came in and I said, well, we're going to redevelop the place that I played football in that was in bad shape when I played 30-some odd years ago. And I said to her immediately, what you're talking about and what you're talking about investing is peanuts. I did not feel as though what I thought a best stadium in the country would look like would be at that level. So from that conversation, And from all the many conversations that we've had with community, with the team, with the administration, we've arrived to where we are today. I, with the mayor, want to also say, again, thank you for all of those who have shown up who are not in agreement with the stadium being built. I think the way the process works is your adamacy makes it better, is what it does. What happens is when we hear the issues and concerns that you guys give, it makes it so that we need to address them, and it makes it so that we hear them. So when I arrived, I said to Linda, or when Linda arrived that day, I said to her pretty simply, I'm not that picky, I just want the best. And every time you hear the mayor say we're looking for the best, and her team say that, that's exactly what we're looking for. I know some of this argument has come down to how much money is being spent, but I arrive as an elected official saying the money is well worth it when we're spending it for our children. So when we get to the conversation about this being the jewel of the Emerald Necklace, I think of what needed to happen for this to become a jewel. It needed, or this park needs, a world-class golf course, which I think we're heading towards, which we spend a lot of time at, and I play at often. We needed a stronger zoo. We need a stronger stadium. We need a walking path, and I certainly hope some of the funds that we're looking at having come to Franklin Park go towards Scarborough Pond. I believe we should not have to leave our neighborhood to go to JP Pond just to go around the walk. The walk, and I think even some of the pictures that even the team starts to take, we should start to highlight the fact that Scarborough Pond needs to be rectified as a part of this conversation as well. So, some of you may not know what Scarborough Pond is, but in the end, how do I see it? I see this as part of a place that we need to be thinking about our community as a destination. I have said very often, whether it be in the fight about Blue Avenue, whether it be about the stadium, Shattuck, whatever it may be, we continue to believe that our neighborhood is a neighborhood you drive through. I would like our neighborhood to be a neighborhood that you drive to and not just through. And so when I'm looking at all the proposals about what we're doing in this community, this has to be a place that in the end, we see just like we see in all the other neighborhoods. You can think of all the other communities in this, neighborhoods in this city who you think of as a destination. And when you think of those places as destination, I don't find people yelling about how much it costs to even park in the Seaport at this point because of the fact that they see that as a destination. I certainly want Mattapan, Roxbury, Dorchester to be on the map as a destination, and this stadium helps to do that. So everybody continue to be involved, obviously, at every single level. We're going to continue to hear all of the input and continue to address everything we can. I also said to Linda now in here, the small amount of money she was talking about at that time for what we could do at the stadium, I didn't think would have the impact on our businesses that I thought was important. And so when I was just walking in, even with Jesse now, he says, look, this contract is still hard to get. We need to make it so that we make the process easier, make it so that the folks from our community take advantage. Great to see folks like General Air and Leroy get such a substantial contract as a part of this first wave of the bid. It is for us, is what I've been fighting for, to have our community take part in this, and that's why it was great to see so many of the folks and friends and families that I know be a part of this. And that's been the fight. Let us build in our neighborhood, making sure, as David Lopes would often say, if you're going to build in our neighborhood, make sure we're taking as much of that as possible. And that's been the goal, and will continue to be the goal, and where I'll continue to push the mayor, the team, the football team, and everyone else to make sure that we're delivering on the things that we have committed to today and deliver on the promise of delivering a great field for generations to come. Next speaking will be our City Councilor, Henry Santana.
Good morning. Thank you, Rep. Holmes, and thank you, Mayor Wu, for convening us here today. Henry Santana, one of the at-large city councilors, currently live about half a mile from here on Schuyler Street. I am one of those students that used White Stadium when I was a track star. I don't know if you all know. That was No, but this facility, and I said this before, this field has not been invested in for decades. And I am very happy and proud that we have a mayor who is bold and who is taking action to invest in our children. My number one priority, as many of you know, on the Boston City Council and now as a second term, has been our youth. And we've heard it already here today. Our youth deserve the best. And that's what we are delivering here. And I know there's a lot of questions about the cost. I will never apologize about the investments we are making in our youth. They deserve it. And when you're talking about when this project is finished, the pathways that our youth will have, whether that's college, whether that's something else, will be tremendous. So I just really want all of us to really focus on that. The number of youth and student athletes, the coaches, the teachers, and all the students who will truly benefit from this. And then the community itself. And I know there's still a lot of conversations that need to be had, but I think we can get to a place where we all feel really, really good about this project, and we all feel amazing about investing in our youth. So I really just want to thank again the mayor, the soccer team for your investment in this, and I'm looking forward to seeing this get done. Next up, I will invite District 6 City Councilor Ben Weber.
Good morning. Hello, Louis. Ben Weber. I'm the District 6 City Councilor. I'm here. I want to thank the mayor for fighting so hard for BPS kids and fighting to invest in an area that's been ignored, in a BPS site that's been ignored by mayors of Boston for 50 years. I think when we look at the investment and the benefit that we'll get out of it, when we talk about investing, it's $130+ million and getting $250 million back over 15 years, we should look at that. I think that $250 million undersells the benefit it's going to provide, because it doesn't include the benefit to our BPS kids who are going to be running track, playing soccer, playing football, coming to this facility. So, as the Ways and Means Chair on the City Council, I look forward to conducting a review of all these numbers and diving into these with my colleagues so we can provide the oversight that's our role in this. The fact that we've gotten this far with our mayor, I'm encouraged, and I look forward to bringing an investment, that's going to help our kids here in the city. So thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Mayor Wu, and thank you to everyone here today, including the elected officials, the community members, city staff, labor partners, and small businesses. As many in this room know, White Stadium has been part of Boston's story for generations. It holds memories, pride, and real potential. Graduations, track meets, soccer games, football games, moments that stay with people long after they happen. And for a long time, it also reflected how hard it can be to turn good intentions into real investment. There were plans and conversations over many years, but the condition of the stadium has continued to deteriorate, and students and neighbors were left without the facilities they deserve. I felt the urgency of this work during one of our many community meetings. A young BPS student spoke up. She said, "The field at White Stadium is the most dangerous field I have ever played on." That really struck me. That was the daily reality for students who just wanted to play or practice. That moment made it clear to me that this project is about giving our students and community the safe and vibrant space they've been waiting for. When Boston Legacy Football Club first began talking with the city about White Stadium, we understood that this wasn't just a development project. This is a public asset. It belongs to the city, and people care deeply about what happens here, and they should. As a longtime Boston resident, I share that sense of responsibility. What makes this project different isn't just the history of White Stadium or the renovation itself, but the long-term commitment behind it. As has been already announced, over the next 15 years, Boston Legacy Football Club will contribute more than $250 million in privately funded benefits. That investment includes revitalizing the stadium and operating and maintaining it as a year-round public facility. It also includes more than $12 million in direct community benefits, from an annual community fund to long-term investments in Franklin Park. And just as important as what we are renovating is how we are renovating it. Supplier diversity is embedded throughout the project. To date, $43 million in contracts have been awarded to minority and women-owned businesses, many of them based right here in Dorchester, Roxbury, Jamaica Plain, and the surrounding neighborhoods. And that's not just about numbers, it's about trust. It's about making sure that the community and economic benefits of this project are felt right here in the neighborhoods around White Stadium. That understanding has shaped how we've approached this work from the very beginning. The project has been guided by ongoing conversations with the community, listening, learning, and adjusting alongside neighbors, advocates, and city leaders. Trust isn't something you ask for once, it's something that you earn, that we will earn over time. Our goal has always been straightforward: to ensure that White Stadium remains a city-owned facility with a stable, sustainable future. Our role is to invest private capital to restore it, operate it, and maintain it so it can be used consistently and cared for generations to come. We also recognize that true success extends well beyond today. It will be measured when neighbors see that this project delivered on its promises, when White Stadium is once again regarded as the gem of the city, and generations from now, when Boston students are still using and benefiting from this stadium, just as they always should have been. Thank you for having me, and I'm going to now turn it over to Ricky Thompson.
Good morning. I'm Ricky Thompson, president of the Franklin Park Coalition. I ran track in White Stadium as a student at English High School, America's first public high school. I also attended some of the big concerts that Mayor Wu referenced that were produced by Alma Lewis and Alan Heyman. And we see this project as something we've been looking forward to for a long time. But in the meantime, Franklin Park Coalition, for approximately 50 years or more, 48, so approximately 50 years, have advocated for this park. We are not the Stadium Coalition, we're the Franklin Park Coalition. We advocate for the entire park. And we see this project as a means of getting sustainable funds and maintenance to this particular area of the park, which will allow us to address other areas of the park as well as getting funding for the Franklin Park Action Plan. And we can direct our attention to many things you may have seen already, like the restoration of the bear cages is happening now. The expansion of the tennis courts is happening now. The Alma Lewis site, original site, we're working on getting that restored, as well as implementing the action plan. And like I said, this will give us funding for the action plan, as well as sustainable and consistent maintenance of this particular area around the stadium. We talked about for decades, we've been working, but We also saw, as Lewis might know, the disinvestment and just the lack of interest in Franklin Park. But now, with this project and other things we've been working on, like the action plan and the $28 million from the Winthrop Square project, we're beginning to see Franklin Park is back. But also, we have to recognize that there have been lots of questions about this. In particular, people want to know who benefits, how decisions are made, whether commitments are actually kept. We've been fielding some of these questions, and we've been advocating for many of these things. We've been able to secure game day, restricted parking for the neighborhood, as well as many other benefits we've addressed, and we'll continue to address the looming transportation and parking issue. Transportation continues to be an issue. We're working on it. The team has been responsive to it, and there'll probably be some things that we won't really know until we actually start. But we're working towards it, and plans are being made. So we feel, again, this feels a little different because this project is almost there. We've gotten pretty far in the process, and we'll probably continue. This partnership will bring resources in terms of jobs and contracts that we have to continue to be vigilant about, that our community actually benefits from this in terms of the construction as well as the operation, as well as long-term contracts. So again, we want to thank Mayor Wu for her diligence and her persistence on this particular issue and getting us this far in the process. Thank you. And I guess I will bring up Keith, President, who's this, Keith Gifted?
Gifted Keith.
Gifted Keith. Oh, sorry, Gifted Keith. Thanks.
Thank you. Wow. Good morning, everyone. My first name is Gifted, last name is Keith. Thank you, Mayor Wu. She gave me a promotion. I'm actually the Vice President of Business Development, not the owner. But I'll take it. Being a part of White Stadium renovation is more than a project. It's an honor and a chance to shape our community future. Partnering with Bond gives us the opportunity to build a new chapter in Boston history. This project has settled new standards for how public investments can create real, lasting impacts for our neighborhoods. Thank you all. Sorry. Next up, Jesse Jeter. Sorry.
It's been refreshing that many of us have talked about running track and playing football at White Stadium. And I'm a Dorchester resident, born and raised here in Boston. And one of a wonderful, a great track runner was actually Tony. He was a fantastic runner for our school. So I don't want to not miss that. My name is Jesse Jeter. I often will say to people, my family's been talking trash for over 50 years, so I'm second generation. But I'm president and co-owner of Eco Waste Disposal and Container Storage, based here in Boston, offices in Dorchester. Eco is excited to provide the waste disposal and portable toilet services on the White Stadium job. Projects like this help create access to opportunity for small, local, minority, and women-owned businesses like mine. This success is a direct result of the meet and greet event sessions that were hosted by the mayor's office over the past few months. These sessions were vital introducing firms like mine to the general contractor, Bond, and allowed us to access great information regarding the job site's specific requirements. Again, I would like to thank Mayor Wu for being intentional. It didn't happen by accident. She was intentional about by creating access to opportunity and spurring small business growth. I think the mayor should be applauded for that effort of being intentional. Thank you, Mayor Wu. Next is Camelia.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I think yes. I have a short intro, and then I'll start speaking. I just want to show a little bit of my talent, and my main sport is soccer. So once again, hello everyone. My name is Camila Restrepo, and I'm very proud to be on the varsity soccer player for the John D. O'Brien School of Math and Science in Roxbury. My family originally is from Colombia, and we've called Boston home for almost my entire life. Soccer and sports in general have shaped who I am since a very young age. They've taught me discipline, confidence, and how to keep going even when things feel hard, both on and off the field. Growing up at a time where women's professional soccer and all sports in general taking a rise across the country is something I don't take for granted. Seeing that growth and seeing that kind of investment right here in the city of Boston shows students like me that our dreams are worth supporting. I've said before that one day I would like to play for Boston Legacy FC, and being here today makes that dream feel even real. Not far away, not impossible, but something I could actually work towards. So, Ms. Jennifer, please keep me in mind for a few years. Nothing will fill me more with pride than represent a team from the city of Boston I was born, and that gave me everything that I have so far. I'm excited to keep training, to run to practice after school, to compete for city championship, and hopefully bring a gold medal back to OB next year. Then this investment tells me and other student athletes that we deserve this level of resources and world-class facilities. So again, thank you, Ms. Jennifer. Thank you to Mayor Michelle Wu and all the city councils and members that made this possible. I would also like to do this in Spanish because I'm bilingual, so. Hola a todos, mi nombre es Camila Restrepo y soy muy orgullosa de jugar fútbol para mi colegio y representar a la John D. O'Brien Escuela de Matemáticas y Ciencia en Roxbury. Mi familia es originalmente de Colombia y Boston ha sido mi hogar por casi toda mi vida. El fútbol y el deporte en general han sido la base de mi identidad desde muy pequeña. Me han enseñado disciplina, confianza y seguir luchando cuando las cosas se ponen complicadas dentro y fuera del campo. Creciendo en una época donde el fútbol femenino profesional y todos los deportes femeninos están creciendo por todo el país, es algo que no doy por sentado. Viendo todo el crecimiento e inversiones en la ciudad de Boston demuestra a estudiantes atletas como yo que nuestros sueños son vistos. Lo he dicho muchas veces, pero me gustaría jugar al Boston Legacy y estar aquí hoy demuestra que ese sueño es posible, no tan lejos, pero imposible, algo que puedo seguir trabajando diariamente. So, señora Jennifer, otra vez, por favor, mantenerme en mente para el equipo en unos años. Nada me llenaría más de orgullo que poder representar al equipo de la ciudad donde nací y el equipo que vi, nací y apoyaré desde el primer día. Estoy contenta de seguir entrenando, correr a práctica después del colegio y competir en torneos de la ciudad y ojalá traer una medalla de oro para mi colegio el próximo año. Esta inversión me dice a mí y a otros estudiantes que merecemos el nivel de herramientas e edificios. Muchas gracias a Ms. Jennifer, la alcaldesa Mayor Michelle Wu y todos los miembros de la comunidad que hicieron esto posible. Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to recover from and not cry at how much pride and excitement it is to know. Wait, what year are you now, Camila? Okay, so that means 1 to finish, 4 for college, and then we're back. So 6 years from now, we're going to be cheering Camila on at White Stadium, and everybody better be there. Okay, so thank you for coming. I know it's been a long time. I would love to take some questions for the group. Would we like to break and everyone let us do that on the side, or you want to keep going and we can take some questions live? Keep going? Okay, let's keep going. Nikki. Oh, wait, sorry. Before Nikki, there were a couple folks I wanted to recognize that I forgot at the beginning. Our Chief of Capital Projects for BPS, Del Stanislaus. Thank you for everything that you do. Our BPS COO, Brian Ford. Thank you for your leadership. We have our Parks Commissioner here, Kathy Baker Eclipse, in the back. Diana Fernandez, who's led so much of the design and planning. Diana Fernandez-Bibo, Luke Hines, Anchi Moreno, and a former elected official who's here also, State Senator Diane Wilkerson. Thank you for being here. Okay, sorry, Nikki.
How final is the $135 million number? Could it increase further, or are you assuring residents that this is the final figure?
Yeah, this is the final budget. The way that all city capital projects work, whether it is a new library or Grove Hall Community Center or a BPS project like this one, we start with a placeholder amount in the capital budget, which is a 5-year look ahead that has a lot of moving pieces within it. That is before we generally go through a detailed community process to actually hear from residents of what they want in the design. Then we set the design, and then at that point it is tested rigorously, tried to see if there are schematics and cost savings, and going to all the cross sections of what that design actually would mean. And then as a public entity, we can't set what the cost will be that we want to pay for each item. We go out to bid, and it is a full public bidding process. Anyone who is interested, any contractors come in and bid, and then we generally choose the lowest qualified bidder. Thanks to State Rep. Holmes, there was actually legislation passed that he carried, that the city passed, and then he championed it up at the State House. So a number of years ago, we were able to change some of the procurement threshold so that the city has a bit more discretion in smaller bids and how they go out. But for most of the large bids as this one, we go through that full public process. Then once those bids come back, they tell us where costs are in the market. We choose the lowest qualified bid, and that is where the budget is. There is a guaranteed maximum price contract that is required when bidders submit their bid. And so that 135 is locked by a contract from the construction general contractor side, that is the amount.
What were the primary drivers of the increase from 91 to 135?
Yeah, so there, of course, everywhere we're seeing that there have been inflationary pressures. Everywhere we're seeing that the cost of steel has gone up very significantly with federal tariffs and other policies that have been announced. Everything has gotten more expensive to build everywhere. But I would say the primary driver of why this project got more expensive is because we heard from community members that there were all of these dreams and hopes and goals, and we decided to make the project better and therefore more expensive in response to that. So one of the big adds, for example, between the 91 estimate, which again was very preliminary before bids, and now is recognizing that we really want to max out what the full professional grade grass field will be able to sustain. When you go with grass over turf, generally you have to rest the field a little bit more. I've learned far too much about this. I think the team knows. And you make a trade-off because turf, you could use it a lot, but it's plastic. It gets little bits and pieces that need to be vacuumed up after it. It gets really lumpy pretty quickly. You have to replace it anyway, and it's just not as healthy in general. So as a city, we're trying wherever possible to go with grass. It is more expensive to maintain, and in this case, although the team will maintain it, by putting in a sub-air system and making that choice to make a significant investment there, we will dramatically expand the number of days that that grass field will be able to be played all throughout the year. So that's for football games, soccer games, lacrosse, anyone else who's going to use it. So there were design changes like that as well. We went from our very first estimate being just a box structure that was going to hold the locker rooms and strength and conditioning spaces and study rooms. And then we heard from community, we cannot have something that is ugly or blocks the views from the Overlook and the Alma Lewis Playhouse. And we can't have something that doesn't fit the character and design of this historic park. And so all of that was changed from one large kind of boxy building to two slimmer buildings that have more spaces built in, tucked in the side, separate spaces, more expense in that way too. And then as we heard more community feedback around wanting the community room to include a kitchen so that there could be events on site and community members could come in and use that kitchen. They wanted more spaces for the coaches to be able to actually have individual space for teams and storage for all the equipment so that people aren't having to carry things all around. So every little bit adds to the cost. But in this case, that $135 million that the city is investing into public infrastructure that will last for decades for our students and community is unlocking, that is 40% of the total stadium cost. So we're getting a world-class, best-in-class stadium for 40% of the construction cost, plus that total $252 million benefits package for years afterwards. Yeah.
What happens if the project doesn't come to fruition? If the Legacy football field is power costs too much, or if Franklin Park Defenders avails their lawsuit? What's the city's commitment to the White Stadium then?
Yeah, so that's actually built into the lease. We know things are going to go so that Camila will be on the field, and that is not something we're expecting or certainly thinking is likely, but we plan for every single unlikely circumstance to protect our investments and to protect the taxpayers. And so built into a lease, there is an agreement, locked in legal language, that should the team walk away for any reason or something happen so that that lease partnership is no longer there, they have two choices. Either they complete their portion of construction for their part of the stadium so that we will have a stadium, or there's an amount held in escrow and they owe the city a certain, I think it's $45 million, et cetera, so that the city would then have funds to complete the stadium to the standards that we would want for a student-only stadium. In any of those scenarios, even when if they were to not be part of the arrangement anymore, it is outright owned by the city of Boston, and if they weren't part of it, then it truly would be 100% of the time instead of 90+% of the time that our BPS students would have the stadium. Yes.
Well, my name is Bookman, the president of the school committee. I have a question that may not directly contingent on the project. First of all, I appreciate the fact that you have allocated substantial finance to MWDB contractors. And I also know that you have taken a pretty strong stand against ICE agents, ICE capabilities. As you know, many of our contractors hire a lot of people, especially in Hispanic diaspora community. Even the fact that the ICE operation is everywhere and especially maybe Boston anyway. What are the kind of protections? What are the kind of
Yes, for this particular project and in general, yeah, for our workforce.
Workers
yeah.
from these contractors who are working at the stadium are going to be shielded
I see.
or
Protected from Thank you. Thank you for your question. Thank you for steering the city in so many ways, both in education and in safety. So this is an important note too on cost escalation. Labor costs have gone up significantly across the board, everywhere, and this is also tied to the federal policies that we have seen. And so when we see fear in our community, when we see people who are no longer coming to work, coming to school, going to the doctor, that has effects everywhere. And that definitely is a component, both in terms of this project and all construction projects and business enterprises, but also in our BPS enrollment numbers. And we had achieved a leveling off, and the year before this one was actually the first time in quite a while that enrollment had been up in the Boston Public Schools, a sign of the great work that had been happening. But as with other urban districts where there's a large immigrant community as well, we have seen the numbers drop, certainly related to that. So I signed an executive order yesterday that protects, just as the governor did, public spaces. And so there's a little additional protection there. But Boston is a city that is welcoming for everyone. We know how to keep ourselves safe, and we are going to continue to do whatever possible to ensure that everybody's safety is part of that. Mr. Lisa.
Yeah, thank you for coming to visit us in a while. 3 questions. First question is to the coach. If we're committed to our children in athletics, why are we fighting if we use the Reggie Lewis Center, which they can't use after 4 o'clock? Our track teams cannot go use Reggie Lewis Center. You heard the same thing. Reggie Lewis Center, they're not able to go. Our track students can't use the Reggie Lewis Center, which is in our community. The second question is that we're trying to figure the benefit to the community, because I know there's a benefit to the soccer league and 135 million, but that benefit is taken from the fact that Madison Park, which is going to do far more for the future and growth of children in the city, has been put on the back shelf for 4 to 5 years while we're now looking for money. But we took $100 million and made it available for the soccer league. So how does that, in a sense, help our children? Finally, a very simple question. Why are we willing to spend $190 million, okay, or $335 million for children, but we won't put up a $5 sign on the 2 hazardous waste sites you created at your snow farms so our children will not get contaminated? Okay,
so I'm going to try to get to the pieces. In terms of signage for snow farms, let's talk more. I'd be curious what you are thinking, and signage is always easy and doable. I was just myself at the snow farm at Franklin Park. It is big piles, but I was right there, and it was...
Don't call it the farm, because children go to Pegasus farm. That's a hazardous waste site.
Okay, well, I was just there myself. It did not look or smell contaminated, but I understand, certainly you don't want kids eating that snow or anything like that. Let's talk more on that front. On some of the numbers and the scale of investment and the connection to Madison Park, I want to give credit to Superintendent Skipper, to Chief Irish, to Dell, Brian, all of our team, because we have gotten used to, in Boston, a mindset where schools just have to make do and fundraise on their own for things that they need. And some schools are in areas where that fundraising is possible. Maybe there's a lot of businesses or restaurants in the neighborhood, and some schools are not. And they've been sort of left each on their own to figure out when new things are needed, even as simple as, one of the most shocking and painful moments for me as a city councilor when I went and visited every single high school to learn more was seeing that some high schools had beautiful school spirit colored blinds in their classrooms, and some high schools had foil and blankets hanging there because the sun was coming in to the students' eyes, and there was no way for learning to happen unless the teachers just figured out a way. It is unacceptable for facilities across the board to be left to their own. And so in the past, it had been one new school every 5 years, every 7 years, if that, right? Before the Josiah Quincy, Boston Arts Academy, the Dearborn, there hadn't been many major investments because schools are expensive. School projects take a lot of dollars to do. And we have to decide as a community that that is the investment we're willing to make. In this current moment, there are more BPS major construction and renovation projects for school facilities underway right now than in the last 40 years combined. And that is because of the work of this team. And with that shift, One, we do have to fight and scrap for every dollar, including from the state, which is why we have been partnering with the MSBA and their designation that Madison Park is now going to be a partnership project that will open up state funding to the tune of $200 to $300 million possibly. That is something that makes that project possible. We cannot be in an either or mindset of Madison Park or White Stadium. Madison Park will be the biggest, most expensive school project in the state of Massachusetts. The budget will be likely well over $700 million because we're going to do that right for our students too. And we've been, as you know, in many conversations with the Friends of Madison Park about all the different pathways and how we're not willing to cut back and reduce the number of pathways, but each new job track, whether that is veterinary or life sciences, robotics, has to be built out specifically for that kind of learning and equipment. And so that project is going to be way more than this one, but we are finding a way to do both. It can't happen all at the exact same time, but it is happening, and it is happening faster than we've ever seen these investments taking place before. It does mean that we have to sometimes make hard decisions, and those decisions get easier when we can bring in private partners from all across the city. Our trades have now gone in on Madison Park with an MOU that we've signed so that graduates from Madison Park are guaranteed spots in the Boston building trades. Our hospitals have partnered to create direct pathways for our BPS students at EMK Health Careers Academy, and they are in that school every single week and guaranteeing them jobs. UMass Boston has signed an MOU with the Ruth Batson Academy where they're guaranteeing admission, scholarships, full tuition, and in this case, we have a partner who is going to use this facility of White Stadium less than 10% of the time, but fund 60% of the construction costs, operations and maintenance every year afterwards. We, as you all know, came to a benefits agreement with the Kraft Group around the Everett Stadium. That is a privately owned stadium that is not going to be open anytime for the public to come in because it will be ticketed events that are for-profit events. We negotiated a $48 million benefits package over 15 years because the impacts will affect Boston. In this case, it is a public stadium, open every single day to the public and our students, owned by BPS, owned by the community, and we negotiated a $252 million benefits package on top of that over 15 years.
I'm sorry, the mayor really has to get going.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Appreciate your time.